Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, February 27th, the 58th day of the year. There are 309 days left in 2024, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. Well, February continues, and it seems like what is always the shortest month of the year is turning into one of the longest with everything going on this month. Valentine's Day, Black History Month, the Super Bowl. Super Bowl seems like it was 2 or 3 months ago, and it was just 3 weeks. Mardi Gras, the National Day of Women and Girls in Science. And as we near the end of the month, let's not forget a Random Act of Kindness Day. Let's pass without paying tribute and recognize that we don't let that pass without paying tribute and recognizing those who go out and do things just because they need being done, and it touches their heart. Hopefully all of us have gotten that feeling at some point in our lives. Today, we will meet some people who have been practicing random acts of kindness for nearly 20 years or more with their Spirit of Luke Charitable Foundation. Our G-list guests today are Henry and Dr. Sandra Ford. Dr. Ford is the founder and medical director of Internal Medical Affiliates in Birmingham. She is a pioneer in the Birmingham community as one of the first 5 African-American female graduates of the UAB School of Medicine and the first African-American female to practice internal medicine in Birmingham. Henry Ford is one of the pioneer Black students at Auburn University. He's the president of Resource Management. He's a real estate management firm. He's executive director and co-founder of the Spirit of Luke, a Promise to Help Charitable Foundation. We look forward to that discussion today. So our show today, of course, is sponsored by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. So let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl customizes the solution that fits your needs. So let's get to our roundtable regulars and go to Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Gossam. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Where are you, I should ask?
I'm in beautiful Auburn, Alabama this week.
Okay, so what's happening in your world?
Well, I've been here since Sunday. Thom came for our women's basketball game. Our Auburn Lady Tigers beat the Texas A&M, whoever they are, on
Aggies.
Sunday.
They're the Aggies, I think.
Aggies, that's right. They're the Aggies, yes.
Yeah.
Great game. Our women's team is really doing well. And they announced that this year they beat the attendance record for all previous years combined for attendance this year. So, I talked about it early on that we really wanted to help Coach Harris and our Lady Tigers fill the arena, and our fans have stepped up to the plate. So I want to thank all of our Auburn fans for coming on board and helping us get the numbers up.
I think it was probably those 2 volunteer coaches they had earlier in the season that
absolutely
spurred everything on.
Absolutely. They've been doing great. They were doing fine before us, but they've been doing even better since then. So
well, I'm glad for them.
Yeah, thank you.
Good deal.
And I don't know if you saw it, Thom, but they unveiled a statue for Albie the Tiger on this past weekend. There's a lot of happy Auburn alums and fans, and there's some that are sort of unhappy about that. Some are saying that they had hoped that there would be a statue of Dr. Harold Franklin, Reverend James Owens, Henry Harris, and even yourself prior to a statue for Albie. But, we're still waiting on those things to happen. But congratulations.
That kind of goes back to that discussion we were having before the show started.
Yes.
And so I don't think anything the legislature can do will hurt us permanently.
I agree.
So anyway, all right. Well, let's get Michael Walker on here. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, TG. Good morning, Barbara. I hope you both are doing well.
Good morning, sir.
Man,
Doing well.
you mighty sharp this morning. Where you going?
It's all spiffy.
Well, you know, every once in a while we got
to
to clean up.
to say something now.
I happen to be in the nation's capital. We're here for our annual conference where we go up and talk to the elected representatives regarding healthcare and things that are happening from that standpoint. So that's why I'm here. Well, you know, we're not going to get anything done because the people that vote on it, they're not here. They're on vacation. So, you know.
But Michael, as we were talking about before, even if they were there, you probably wouldn't get much done. But, you know, at least you'd be able to see their faces.
Yeah. Well, the flip side of that is it's their executive assistants and their people that are aides, legislative aides that get all the work done anyway. And they read all the material and stuff and then tell them, you know, what way the wind is blowing and how to vote. So, you know, we might as well go and talk to them. So that's what we'll do.
Well, I know you got a couple of things for us, but before we do, I just wanted to know if you guys saw where the former president says that his mugshot and the indictments have made him more of a favorite for Black people. Said Black people like him because he's got indicted and he took a mugshot. I don't know which Black people he's talking about.
I don't know either, Thom. Maybe it's his imaginary Black friend that he has.
But he said, man, when they saw that mugshot and they saw these indictments, they just flocked to me. It's like, okay, if you say so. I guess if you want to believe that, that's fine.
Well, you know, he lives in his own world. You know?
Definitely.
It's all in his head. So, I mean, you can come up with anything when you just, whatever you think is real to you. So that imaginary Black friend.
Hey, Tom, Trump is like that good friend of ours, Smitty. He said he's a legend in his own mind.
In his own mind. He definitely is that. So what else you got, Michael?
Well, as you know, we're in the legislative season and stuff. And yes, we're up here in DC to talk about healthcare and some other issues, but as well in the states, there are legislative sessions going on. And there are a couple things going on in Georgia that I've had to go and testify against. And I'd like to kind of share them with you just to give you an idea of how things work. There is an issue called premises liability legislation. And basically what we're trying to do is negate frivolous lawsuits. To give you an example, and everybody talks about how high insurance premiums are and then inflation and all this. This shows you how things contribute to it. There is a staple in Atlanta called Maloof's Tavern. It's a political establishment. It's an establishment that primarily the Democratic Party congregate at and discuss politics and what have you. A couple of weeks ago, we went there and we had a reception there. And this premises liability issue came up. And what happened with him is that he had a client, a customer that visited his establishment that was also a good Samaritan, okay? He helped everybody in the neighborhood, all around good guy. He walks out the back door to go home. He's in the parking lot of Maloof's Tavern, and there is a guy that's going, looking in windows and breaking in cars in the parking lot. So the good Samaritan say, hey, man, stop doing that. You cannot do that. You're breaking in people's cars, stealing stuff. Stop doing it. Altercation ensued. The perpetrator pulls out a gun, shoots the good Samaritan. He dies.
Oh, man. Wow.
As a result of this happening, the owner of Maloof's Tavern, their insurance company got involved. Of course, the lawyers got involved. And what did they do? They sued the owner of Maloof's Tavern because this perpetrator shot a victim there in his parking lot. Wow. Now, the perpetrator never visited Maloof's Tavern other than to steal in the back, you know? But the insurance company said, we can't fight this. you're going to be held liable. We just going to pay the claim.
Wow.
So it's, several $1 million against his insurance liability. As a result, now his insurance is shot up because they're saying you run an unsafe establishment. You're in a crime-ridden area. So now he has to go around and look for more liability insurance because having a restaurant, he can't open and operate without liability insurance.
Right.
And really that liability insurance is for if somebody slips and fall inside the restaurant and get hurt or something like that, where they say it was negligent on his part. Well, now they're trying to say he was negligent because this perpetrator killed somebody. And as a result, go ahead.
Are they saying that there's wasn't proper security? That's the reason for the suit? I mean, in the parking lot, you would still think, as long as the building's covered,
the perpetrator shot somebody.
Yeah,
I thought somebody shot the perpetrator. No, the perpetrator. Oh man,
shot the Good Samaritan.
The perpetrator shot somebody. How are you going to have? I mean, what security are you going to do? Because you didn't have a security guard there. You never had to have one before. It's just a political establishment. Exactly. It's a restaurant.
Right.
Okay. So now with his insurance going sky high, he has to go look for more insurance. He's having to pay double. As a result, he has to raise the prices of his food to cover the costs. So we're trying to work to get rid of stuff like that. That's one of the issues that I went down to speak at the Capitol on a couple of weeks ago, is that. So, it's amazing how many things that go into play that contributes to the overall inflation.
Yes.
And that contributes to when you get your bill and the premiums going up, you all of that factors into it.
Right.
Exactly.
You say, I didn't do anything. I didn't make any claims.
Right.
Why did it go up?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's because of stuff that's going on like that. Another quick one, and this really hits home to small businesses. There is a bill called the TPP, Tangible Personal Property. Some people call it a business inventory tax. And within the states, counties, they will assess a tax on a business for their inventory or for their personal property that they use in their business. Now, keep in mind, this stuff you've purchased, you've already paid tax at the point of sale. Right. So now the county commissioners, they're coming in there retaxing it. Now, I have a living personal experience with that. A couple of years ago, I was in the process of making an acquisition and trying to get an SBA loan. And the lawyers representing the bank says, you have a lien against your company that you have set up as the holding company. You have a $700 lien with Gwinnett County. I knew nothing about it. I had never been contacted. So I go to start to find out, and I got to pay this lien off in order to move forward to get my business loan. Wow. $700 lien. And the thing about it was that it's against a company that I operate out of my home. And I just have a mailbox set up like a UPS store, wherever where you get your mail. This person goes to that mail stop, puts a lien on the door. Now you can look in there and see I don't have a desk in there. I don't have a phone in there. I'm not even located in there. This mailbox is in there.
Oh, that's funny.
That's how he files a lien. And so I felt violated. I felt blackmailed. Because I had to go get $700 cash money and go give it to Gwinnett County for them to release the lien so I can send it to the lawyers and say, okay, the lien is released. Give me my $300,000 loan so I can get this business and go on about my business. Okay. Wow. So I went down and I personally testified, we're going to get that taken off the books. We're going to remove it. It's a phased-in approach. But here's the deal. As the law currently sits, it's for $7,500 or less. Okay. Well, he didn't know what I had.
Right.
And when I called the guy up, I say, how did you assess this tax? What did you come up with? Well, how do you operate? I say, I operate from home. Well, do you have a desk? Well, yeah, I operate from a desk. Well, we're going to tax the desk. We'll tax your pens, your computer, anything that you use. He says, and by the way, you have a cell phone? Yes, I do. Well, Do you get business calls on your cell phone? Yes. You call people back relating your business on your cell phone? Yeah. Well, we taxing that too. I said, this is my personal cell phone. He laughed.
Right.
And that pissed me off. Okay.
Wow.
But
You still pissed
Is
off.
that just in Gwinnett County, Michael?
no, that's throughout the state of Georgia.
Wow.
And for those people that have multiple locations in different counties, they get double tax from each county.
That is crazy.
Okay.
Really?
So what we've done, I wanted to just get rid of the whole thing. And I had spoken to the lieutenant governor about it. He happens to be in the insurance business. He's a small business person. He said, yeah, let's just get rid of it. You guys need to just get rid of it and stuff. But you have some people that want to take baby steps and stuff. So we came up with a plan that, okay, we're going to raise that ceiling from 75 to, I think, 25,000 this year. So anything less than 20,000 in inventory, you can't be taxed on. Next year, it's going to go to like 35. Then the third year, go to 50. Then after that, it's going away and stuff. So I have told the people at NFIB, I said, I want you to get that law, send it to all our members so they can put it up in their businesses. And when they get the tax, they can send it to them and say, hey, I have less than $20,000 worth of inventory. I'm exempt. But that's just some of the crazy stuff that you have to deal with.
Wow.
Well, speaking of crazy, Barbara, I saw where you sent me something about the mayor of Birmingham is going to take on the legislature. You want to tell us about that?
Right. There is a bill that's been presented in the Senate here in Alabama, basically denying access to DEI funds or funds to any DE&I entity, whether that's a university, a business, or student organization, or anything else, saying no state funds can be utilized to for any DEI purposes, and that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if it's a student organization that's applying for a grant or scholarships or anything, organization, school, company, they want to do away with any type of funding associated with that. They're saying that any organization that decides to donate to those type of initiatives won't receive tax credit for that either. So the bill is really ugly, and the mayor of Birmingham has stepped forward and saying if the bill passes, he's going to recommend that any Black athletes choose a school outside of the state of Alabama, because if that's what they're wanting to push here in this state, then he would prefer those students leave the state of Alabama and go to school elsewhere. And I can't blame him, because that's really an ugly law if it passes.
So he's going to promote the transfer portal and say, you guys transfer on out of here.
Transfer out and don't ever go. For those who are considering going, just don't even look at them. And yes, I just wonder why, when a bill like that comes up, it's divisive. Absolutely. It's intended to hurt people. So right. I don't understand it. I really don't. But that's where we are politically. Yeah, we talked about that. Some people are just mean-spirited, Thom, and they just want to do anything that's going to cause the divisiveness, that's going to hurt individuals, that's going to hold people back. And it's, and then they want to label themselves as Christians. I don't understand how those two things can go hand in hand. They can't. So when they need to be, when they want to be, when they just want to be Christians, they can attach that label to themselves, I guess. Okay. Barbara, you got anything else for us? I do, Thom. I'm honored to be here in Auburn today. I'm participating on a panel this evening on campus called Diversity in Auburn Through the Decades.
That's
very
funny. I'm
interested
sorry
in it.
to laugh.
Yeah,
That's
I know. But myself, along with 3 other alums, will sit on a panel today on campus, and students, faculty, alumni, and friends of Auburn are invited to attend. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout today, and it will be a great discussion. But we'll talk about, what our experiences at Auburn while we were here on campus as students, what our experiences have been as Auburn alums, how it has affected our lives in general.
as it becomes seasoned individuals. So it will be an interesting discussion.
Okay.
Well, who's going to fund that since you're talking about diversity?
We're not going to talk about that, Michael. We're not going to talk about that right now. and
right.
something
Go
fun.
ahead.
I was going to say something fun. I had two of our regular viewers on of the TWT show reach out to me this weekend. Antley Stanton and my cousin, William Wallace Smith Sr. in Columbia, South Carolina. I think they've conversed through Tuesdays with Thom, just do our the chat each week, but they actually had a chance to meet this weekend. So they both contacted me and said how cool that was to meet, and Tuesdays with Thom was a connection. So that was great.
Good deal. Antley's been with us for a while. And,
yes.
Matter of fact, I'll talk about this at the end, but Antley's birthday is coming up this weekend, and he's going to Covington or Conyers, Georgia, where we used to shoot the heat of the night. So they got some people, Laurie and Antley and some other people are going over there. So I want to come back to that towards the end. Michael, I got to ask you something. So they got Fannie Willis's cell phone numbers now. So what does that mean?
I guess they're trying to draw a connection as to how often she talks with Nathan Wade. That's all I can think of with that. It's interesting that, they were trying to say that she, and this is the term that lawyers use, self-dealing, which meaning you're basically profiting off of your position and getting financial benefit. Because they were saying that because she hired Nathan Wade and they were paying him with Fulton County money to be the lead prosecutor and they had a relationship, then she's getting money back. That's what they're trying to drum up on this situation. But there's a story that hasn't gotten a lot of coverage, which is Fannie said that she reimbursed and paid her own way and she paid with cash. And they're saying, well, that's impossible. Nobody does that. Well, you guys know that as a minority in this country, you're always taught to have a little stash of cash because, the banks do not necessarily deal with you on a level playing field. Okay. Well, there's this guy who was a manager or maybe an owner at a winery that Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade visited. They ran up a $400 tab. And he said that when he went to give them the tab, Fannie Willis said, well, I'll just pay you in cash. She reached in her purse and pulled out 400 big ones, big head Benjamins, as they call them, dropped them on the table, paid him in cash. He said he thought that was a little bit unusual because most people with a tab like that would do a credit card. So he called in to CNN because he saw the trial on TV and they were harassing her and trying to say that, that was not true. It was inaccurate. She wasn't paying with cash. And he said, no, I can testify she really did pay with cash and stuff. But they're trying to keep that out. They're not talking about that.
A lot of people still deal with cash. And I know people who live along the coast, in hurricane areas. When a hurricane hits, you better have cash because nothing else works.
Right.
Nothing else works. And so that's the only way you can get anything done. And so, people keep a little cash at home. Now I don't want nobody hitting me in the head. So I ain't got the money at the house here, y'all. But that's just not that unusual.
Right. And Fannie Willis said that's where her daddy raised her, to keep cash on hand. And that's what she's done. So, yes.
Well, we're going to, either one of you got anything else you want? Michael, Barbara?
Well, Nick Saban said college football is no longer what we view it as. And that's why he retired.
Nick ain't got the advantage anymore.
Nick said he got to compete now. He don't like that.
Well, it is a mess, but it was a mess beforehand. It's been a mess for a long time in terms of how, I think what's interesting is the kids, the young men, we're talking about football, like young men are getting somewhat of an equal say in about their time at a particular school.
Right.
And if they want to stay there and if they want to go somewhere else, they're getting paid. I mean, all the things that if you go back and ask people, you know, how they felt about it, I can tell you, we got $15 a month. And I guess in this day and time, that's what, maybe $100,
Right.
you know?
I tell y'all, if you haven't had a chance to watch that interview with Shannon Sharp and Johnny Football, what is his last name? Manziel. Go back and watch that. He talks about NIL before NIL. And it's very, very interesting. He said everybody was doing it way before NIL. Right. And so he brings out a lot of things that most people knew. They just never said it out loud, but he does. And it's really interesting.
I saw
his daddy tried to negotiate a $3 million deal with Texas A&M.
Absolutely.
Manziel also said that he was on that diet. And
yes.
He lost 40 pounds on that diet.
On that diet. Yeah, that interview is something else.
You guys got anything else? We got to move on to Sean, and then we'll go to our G-list guest. Sean, you out there?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute. Black History Month is coming to an end, and before it finishes up, I'd like to end it with Lorraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun. The first Broadway play written by a Black woman opened at the Ethel Barrymore Theater in New York in 1959. Taking its title from the Langston Hughes poem Harlem, Hansberry's story follows a working-class Black family from the South Side of Chicago hoping to improve their lives. Raised herself on Chicago's South Side, Hansberry's parents were racial justice activists, and A Raisin in the Sun was inspired by her life. It was also the first Broadway show to feature a Black director, Lloyd Richards, and its stars included Cindy Portier, Ruby Dee, Claudia McNeil, and Louis Gossett.
Don't leave me alone. Eat your eggs, you're gonna be cold.
See? The man say to his woman, I got me a dream. She says, eat your eggs, they getting cold. Man say to his woman, help me now to take a hole in this world somehow. And she says, eat your eggs and go to work. I tell you, I gotta change my life because I'm choking to death. And all you say to me is eat these eggs.
Eat your eggs, Wally.
Damn these eggs. Damn all the eggs that ever was.
And go to work.
I'm trying to talk to you about me. Now all you're going to say to me is eat these eggs?
Never before in the entire history of the American theater had so much of the truth of Black people's lives been seen on stage. James Baldwin later wrote of the production, Black people have ignored the theater because the theater had always ignored them. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute.
Thank you, Sean. So let's go to our G list. Hollywood's got the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Thom, we have the G list. And our G list guests today are Dr. Sandra Ford and Henry Ford. So good morning, Dr. Sandra Ford and Henry Ford. How are you guys doing this morning?
Wonderful.
Good.
And thankful.
Good. Yes. So Dr. Ford is the founder and medical director of Internal Medical Affiliates. They have the Spirit of Luke Foundation, and I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head here because I know they do these missions, and we're going to talk about where the missions are. But I've been on a couple of their missions with them back in the day, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to witness. Henry Ford is one of the first Black students from Auburn University. I've been knowing him forever, and he's the executive director and co-founder of the Spirit of Luke Foundation. So good morning, you guys. How you doing?
Great. Very good.
Okay, well, Dr. Ford, we'll start with you. So tell us a little bit about first of all, let's do this. You guys operated in the Black Belt, right? Tell us about the Black Belt first so people can get an understanding of what it is that you're actually contributing out there.
Yes. Well, the Black Belt is an area
it initially was defined by about 20 counties, but it had to do with the richness of the soil. But now it's really defined by just abject poverty. And so it's the great exit. And so people here are underserved, underprivileged, underinsured, and that is the areas that we focused on. And we go to about 13 counties in the Black Belt. And my journey began in the Black Belt because actually I'm from the Black Belt in one sense. Well, Montgomery's in the Black Belt as well. But my parents were school teachers. My mother was a elementary school teacher. My father was a principal. And so we actually lived in the Black Belt 5 days a week and went to Montgomery on the weekends. So I had opportunity to witness firsthand the inequities in healthcare. So if I got sick during the week, and there was one event that sort of was the changed the whole trajectory of my life. Going to a segregated doctor's office, the only one in town, and there would be two entrances, one for African Americans and one for Caucasians. And at the age of 8 years old, I sat in this waiting room with my father, and the the flow was such that for every maybe 5 or 10 people that they took on the Caucasian side, they take one uh, African American, and I sat there and watched at the age of 8 an African American elderly lady just agonizing, just in distress, and it troubled me so much. I said, well, why are they ignoring her? And my father just said, okay, it'll be okay, you know. And so it went on, and it wasn't okay. I sat there and watched her die in the
Oh
waiting
my
room.
God. Mm.
And so I turned to my father and I said, Dad, if God would allow me to become a physician, I promise to help. And if you just pass forward that on. And I meet this wonderful man in medical. Well, I was in medical school in the elevator, and we became very good friends at first, and then it grew, and it grew until we got married. And here I practiced medicine, and then we come back, and I'm on the staff at Baptist Hospital, and we see this article that was written. What paper was it in?
Birmingham News.
Birmingham News, and it said Alabama's third world, the Black Belt. And it sort of rekindled my promise because I had always wanted to go back, but it was hard to bring your family back to a town where there was just not a lot of things for them to do or educational opportunities and that kind of thing. So we went on a fast at our church, and he wrote uh, a plan for us to do. Henry wrote a plan for us to do mobile medicine, and I was just talking about it and talked to Michael Drummond, whose family owns Drummond Coal Company. He goes all over the world doing missionary work, and I said, "Well, how much is that to do? Would that cost me to us to get a mobile clinic?" And he says somewhere between 300,000 and $1 million. I'm like, "Oh, I don't." And so what happened after that is the public relations director at the hospital told me to talk to Charlie Faulkner, who was the as hospital administrator, and we both went in to just share with him our vision. And we sat there, and after we finished, he said, well, you know, that's really very interesting. Um, we were trying to develop a mobile clinic for a Hispanic population here in Birmingham, and we got a grant, and we actually purchased a mobile clinic, and it's in the parking lot, and you guys can use it. And there, it just
Thanks.
That started our ministry.
that started. I mean, God, because I mean, like, wow. It's all purpose, you know.
Tell and we've got a list of where you guys are going to be going this year. You sent us, and so Sean's going to put that up. But tell us, Henry, tell us how the missions work. And I've been on them, and I think it's just paint that picture for the people of what you
Okay.
guys actually do.
We,
when you go out
we
there.
happen to. It's been such an awesome journey these last 22 something years that we've been doing this. But basically, like I said, we target the black belt counters. That's what we feel like we've been called to. And so what we do is put together a team of professionals, doctors, lawyers, anybody who has the heart of the people. We put these volunteers together and we go and set up what we call our mass unit. You know, we so like a military style, we'll go in these communities and we will set up tents and take the mobile clinic, and we set up an operation where people can see physicians, all kind of specialists, and we have all kind of volunteers in every area to volunteer with us at some point, and so they can see physicians for free. We have nurses. They go through a triage process. All kind of tests and stuff that they can get for free. We have pharmacists who set up a pharmacy, and physicians prescribe medicines for you. Then they can come and get their medicines for free. Most of the areas we go to are going to be, obviously the most uninsured, underserved, impoverished communities is the ones that we seek out. So they're not going to be a McDonald's or anything for our volunteers to eat. So we have our own cooking staff. So they come and they prepare food so everybody can eat. We feed everybody, the whole community. Anybody who comes, we feed them. We have a clothing ministry, and we set up a thrift store, and they can come and shop for free, because in those areas, you know, it's not a lot of clothing stores in some of these towns or anywhere where people can shop. So they really get excited about coming to the thrift store. So those are some of the things we do. We also have counseling. We have volunteers in all areas. So, you know, we have medical students. I forgot about that. We've kind of, over the years, developed a mentoring component with students, with medical students, and those who want to become doctors. They come, they volunteer, and they work with the doctors to do what they call shadowing and learn more about rural medicine, because there's not a lot of places you can go and get that. And so, and that's just part of what we do. We go in the community, knock on doors, and our main reason, because we've been called to the ministry, both of us are ordained ministers, so we have an evangelism component to our ministry, into our mission work we do. And so we're going in the communities while all this is going on at our site. Then we take a team into the project areas, the knock on doors, the rural areas. People don't have transportation. We take our van, pick them up, those who want to go back, and we take them to see the doctor, get something to eat, to shop, get clothes, etc. And so that's kind of like briefly.
And I know you guys do it the first Saturday of the month. So Sean, can you put the locations up for us, please? This is what you guys are doing this year. These are the places where you're going this year. Exactly. So I guess the next one is March 2nd in Hurtsboro, Alabama. And then on through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, man.
Hey, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Sean. So, Barbara, you got some questions for the Fords?
I do. And first of all, I want to thank you all so much for the work that you're doing. It is I know the people in the Black Belt really appreciate it. I actually have relatives there, and they've talked about the work that you all are doing there and how impressive it is and how helpful it has been. I want to ask about volunteers. I know you talked about going into the medical schools and companies and so forth, but if just a regular person wants to help out and volunteer, how can they get involved? And will they be able to go on the Saturdays with you, or just donate funds? What do you need, and how can people help?
Well, we need both. you can donate funds, but probably the best way is to go to our website, apromisetohelp.com. Apromisetohelp, one word.com. If you go there, you're going to find our calendar. You're going to find information, our history, pictures, how you can help as far as volunteers. We believe everybody can do something. So it doesn't matter what your skill levels are, whatever your interests. If you show up to volunteer, we're going to put you to work. People need help in these areas. Even now, we've been going there 20-something years, and man, this areas now we are more concerned with now than we were 20 years ago. We got it's unbelievable what's happening with the food there, and the water. We're talking about. We still got places that don't have running water. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And the sanitation is crazy. People are poisoning the people's water in the land with the help of some of these local politicians down there. So we try to get involved in the whole man concept. So we actually do what we can do. We've connected, take for instance, in the food desert. Well, just about all of those kinds of food deserts. And I'm sure y'all familiar. Y'all probably talked about food deserts before. But we're having now where some of the cities down there, the grocery stores are closed. We got towns and stuff that we go to that don't have a grocery store. Not one. They have to go to another county to shop for groceries, man. And this 1924 is unbelievable. But yeah, that's what we try to do, Bob. We try to help. Whatever way we can.
And I'm sure it's a catch-22. You talk about it being a food desert. They don't have stores and they don't have transportation to get to the stores.
Exactly.
So it is a major issue.
Yes.
Exactly.
So quick question, then we'll go to Michael. One of the ladies who's been on this show is I don't know the word to use, but she works with sickle cell. And one of her questions is, would you guys do sickle cell trait testing in conjunction with them? And I can put her in touch with you guys if that's okay.
We'll any resource that we could make available to the
okay.
We'd be happy to do that.
Allison, you hear that? So you can contact me, Allison, or contact Sean, and we'll get that information to you. We'll get the forwards, or you can go to their website and just her name is Allison Morrison. She does sickle cell. She works with sickle cell down here. And Ford, I just want to go back to Dr. Ford's thing about going to the doctor and sitting different. Our dads worked at a Sitco, and they had a medical facility, and you would go, and the black folks sat on one side, and the white folks sat on one side. And when I had graduated from college, I went in one time and the black side was filled up, man. There wasn't a seat over there. And there was hardly anybody on the white side. It's like, I'm getting ready to get my daddy fired now. But I'm going to go over here and sit down. So I went over there and sat down on the white side. And the nurses all looked at me, but nobody said anything. And I said, well, we crossed the barrier today at the Sitco.
Hey,
Michael.
Hey, I never did do that. I just stood up and waited.
Sometimes you'd have to just go stand on the porch and wait, because there wasn't any seats. Go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
First of all, Henry and Dr. Ford, thank you guys for the work you're doing. It's certainly it's inspiration. It's something that's needed, and my hat's off to you for doing that. Just sitting here listening to you guys, you said a couple things. And Dr. Ford, you mentioned that it's the black belt, but it was called the black belt because of richness in the soil. And then I hear you say that, people do not have running water. They don't have this, they don't have that. And I think Henry said something about because of politicians there. So help me connect the dots. If this place has rich soil, why is it not an opportunity or a way for the people of the Black Belt to be able to make a living off of the soil? Because I'm sure their homes sit on this rich soil.
Yes.
Can you help me with that? Because you're in farming community.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't. You want to say? I said.
Yeah, you ready?
Okay. So
Be able
the
to.
rich black soil, the reason they come, that's where all the cotton was grown. So consequently, that's where all the slaves were. And so when cotton stopped being king, the soil now is still rich and black, but cotton is not king. Our people, descendants of ex-slaves, they're really not much interest in farming and growing, and that if you think about that mentality, when they think about that, they think about
slavery and
who wants to revisit
sharecropping.
that, right? They want to live like we're living here in Birmingham. They want to be able to just go to the store, and live the life that they see on the internet and on television. And so there really is not much interest. It's kind of died down. They used to have farms, just like even, some of our parents. My granddad had a big garden. He was from down in the Black Belt, and when he moved to Birmingham, but he continued to farm. But it died down. Now, I venture to say we know very few people who have gardens now. And it's that same concept down there. They don't want to grow. And then it's no jobs.
Yeah, it's almost like it's association with slavery and with sharecropping. The mindset is that I don't want to participate in that anymore. And we've actually done something in that regard by trying to start gardens, community gardens. And so what we call that the Swan Project, so that mentally you can change it from an ugly duckling to a swan. Because actually now you need to eat from the ground. The rich nutrients are in the ground, the phytochemicals. But the mindset, when we did that, we had medical students to come and start the gardens, but they wouldn't follow through with it. It's still the mindset. We need a paradigm shift with that, so that now it's for you. It's not. So that's been hard to make that transition.
Yeah, it's hard to break that.
What you're saying basically is there needs to be an education to them about the aspects of farming, because some of the richest people in the country now are farmers, but they are of another hue, another skin color. But what the people in the Black Belt do not understand is that the government pays farmers. They pay you for it. They pay for the insurance. They subsidize farming, and then you can take it to the market and sell, and they can still live the life that people live in the big cities, but even better because it's not as expensive down there. You know what I mean? So I think that may be the next project, is educating them on how to take what they have and turn it into a dollar. And I hear you about the plantation mentality, but it's really a new day. And I guess that goes back to the politicians. They're not doing their jobs. So, but I bet you some of those politicians are in the farming business. If they're politicians down there,
but they own the land. See,
Right.
It's still America. It's all about the land.
Right.
The man who owns the land run the country.
Last week we had a woman who is a good friend, who is a executive, who is actually the CEO of one of the Southern Company organizations over in Atlanta, and she had, and it was about STEM and young girls getting involved in STEM. So, Dr. Ford, how do you talk to young girls about medicine? Growing up, when you talked about growing up, you didn't see any Black women in medicine. And so is that something that you've tried to foster?
Yes, actually, my mentor was the first African-American physician in Alabama. My father He was my physician. So I'd go here in the Black Belt and see lack of hope. And then my father would connect me to African Americans who are doing well. I mean, we used to hear Martin Luther King, who was in his fraternity. We'll go here and see hopelessness and come here to be encouraged. So it was Dr. Day. I can't remember her exact first name, but she graduated from the Women's College of Philadelphia, and she was my personal physician. And I mean, at every path, God put somebody in there to give me hope and encourage. I could do this, and it's like, well, what I do with that is, well, mainly I see the pre-med students, and mainly I see the med students. But when my daughter was at John Carroll, they formed a group, and they actually went as high school. They got credit for it, for participating in voluntary work. And so I actually had a chance a week ago to speak at Ramsey High School and for Career Day. So wherever I go, I've done this in Huntsville, wherever she's teaching, she always asks me to come and speak. And so through her, she's been allowing me a voice to speak to kids on the high school level, and through UAB, the pre-med students, and also through the med students, because a lot of them come back and volunteer. I see them through residency. I've written letters for them from Duke to Vanderbilt to UAB. A bunch of residents are there. So it's you people, they catch it when they see somebody that looks like them. They catch it.
Good. Okay, Barbara, you got anything else?
I do. I just want to highlight some of the achievements of A Promise to Help. You've had 10,335 volunteers, treated over 9,000 patients, served nearly 28,000 plates of food, given away over 26,000 bags of clothing, and given out over almost $7,000 gifts to children during Christmas holidays, and backpacks for kids going back to school. And that is so impressive. Again, the impact that you're having there in the Black Belt is just immeasurable. And thank you all so much for what you're doing. And please continue to do so.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We do our best.
Yes.
I would encourage anybody who has any kind of interest to go on one of the missions.
Yeah,
I think I've been on a couple, and it's interesting because you think we're in the 20th, what are we in the 21st century, 20th century, one of them, and you think, that we've all moved past this, and I know, slavery was more than a physical thing. Yes. It's very much a mental thing, and so we can say, well, they ought to do better, but it's different. And I remember when Henry came from Bowler Ford, how he talked about Bowler and talked about the mentality, how we laughed because we thought he was kidding. Nobody lives like that, we were saying, but they did live like that. And so I think we just appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, Thom, they still live like that. No sewer systems, makeshift systems where your sewage goes out into your backyard on the ground.
Oh my God!
Today, you can find that in the Black Belt. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Michael, anybody got any other questions?
Yes, Henry, you have a motto that you live by. Speak to your motto and recite your motto for everybody.
Okay. Now, I have more than one, but I would say you're talking about the one where I say, do what you can do. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
So this is one I've been talking about when even started back when I was coaching. But we believe everybody can do something. And what we ask you to do is to do what you can do. And that's why we say that no matter what your skill level, professional, whatever, if you come volunteer with us, we're going to find something for you to do. So please consider, you got time on the first Saturday you can just show up. You don't even really have to call us. You can, if you see our address, that's where we're gonna be. We've been pretty faithful, even during COVID, we still had, I imagine, since this whole time, we've only missed 2 missions, and one was a really bad accident that just blocked the freeway, and we got caught up in the middle. We couldn't get out. And the other one was a tornado came through the town the day before, and they just said, "Okay, hey, we can't take you right now." And so we waited, and we still went, but we went later. We didn't go on the first Saturday. So we try to be consistent with that. The people depend on us. We have liaisons in each community that work to get the people out and to get the word out. And they're there waiting on us. So when we pull up, it's a line waiting to see the doctor. It's a line that's waiting to be fed. It's a line that's waiting to shop for the clothes, And so because that need is there, we believe that what we can do, we do.
And I'll just say, I've been on a couple, and I certainly didn't have any great specialized skill in terms of what they were doing. But hey, carry this over there. Okay, I'll do that. Or whatever, go do this. Okay, I'll do that. I just think you can be of help in any way. So, is there anything you guys that we haven't mentioned you guys would like to mention, Fords?
I like to just say that we believe in this collaboration efforts. That's one of the columns because when you got volunteers, you understand that everybody brings something to the table. And so just recently, throughout this time, these 20 years, we've collaborated with UAB and University of Alabama, South Florida, not South Florida, but South Alabama. And universities, and now we are in the process of working and talking with our alma mater, Auburn University, and hopefully we're going to be able to work something out where we're going to collaborate with them with this new on-med unit that's being introduced to do some great things in the Black Belt. It's telehealth. They have this module booth that doctors and people in our communities will be able to see the doctors in a screen, and it's high tech. It says the stethoscopes that drop down and the blood pressure monitors and all those things, and then the big screen in front of you where you're seeing the healthcare professional and they're seeing you. And so that was our first time seeing it yesterday, and we're impressed, and we hope that our people in the Black Belt who's watching this, hopefully we're going to be able to bring this technology to your town. So.
Good deal. All right. Well, good deal. Well, we appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys being with us. Thank you for the information. People in the chat seem to really enjoyed it this morning. So, and again, it's you can go back. People can go back and watch it on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. If you want to watch this particular episode, it's number 177. So thank you guys so much, man. It was great. So Gayla's at Ramsey, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got a young lady who I'm mentoring at Auburn, and she graduated from Ramsey last year, and she's a sharp. Yeah, she's a sharp young girl, and so when I was at John Carroll, you mentioned John Carroll. I was at John Carroll. Ramsey was our big close. Right, because John Carroll's on the south side then, so it was our big rival. And Clifford and those guys, they were a better team than we were for sure. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys. It
I'll
has
keep
been
up the
great.
good work.
Yes.
Share it and giving the news. I think that whenever we can get our slant on the news out, like what you're doing, Mike, and stuff, and
Yes.
Bob, whenever we can get that out, I think that's a blessing. It's seed in the ground. We can't underestimate in the ground.
This is our, and we've been very fortunate. This is our 177th show.
Wow.
And Michael and Barbara have been with us from the very start. And Sean and Emily, who do a lot of the work in between shows. And, we feel like what you do with medicine, maybe we do with information. We just try to put information out there.
There you
so
go.
that people know where to go for services and so on and so forth. And so far it's worked out well. So
yeah,
yes.
Right. Whatever we can do to help you, please let us know.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else? Barbara, Michael?
No.
All right.
I got to run. They're calling me. So
man.
Nice to see you guys. And talk to you later.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Right, Mike.
Enjoy your day. Yes.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So my closing comment. Or as I see it, is a shout out to Tuesdays with Thom friend Antley Anthem from over in South Carolina on his upcoming birthday, and the visit he is planning along with the Heat of the Night group to Covington, Conyers, Georgia, where the show was shot. Antley, we wish you a happy birthday. Have a wonderful time visiting with the Heat of the Night group and visiting all the sites in town where the show was shot. And I know you're going to go by Ted Marcus's office, but I can tell you he probably won't be there, or maybe he'll surprise you. If not on this visit, perhaps in the future. Anyway, enjoy yourself. And a hello to Laurie Luke Lohman from Kokomo, Indiana. Thanks, Laurie, for helping me out. And that's how I see it on this 27th day of February in the year 2024. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. We want to thank our G-list guests, Henry and Dr. Sandra Ford. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And that's it for this February 27th. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. If you've got an extra one, give it to someone else today. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.